Welcome to Theater Crafts, where we take theater memorabilia and transform them into brand new treasures. So I'm sure you have lots of scripts and programs, maybe even show posters hanging around, and you want to keep them because they hold really great memories, but they're not going to really help you if they're sitting in a drawer somewhere. So what if you took a poster and you made it into a bead? See that? And then you take that bead and you make it into a bracelet. Then you could wear that all around, and you know that that's from the show that you were involved with. Other people may not know that, but you're keeping it close. Here's one that's made out of sheet music. How awesome is that? So today we're going to create beads, and we're going to then make bracelets. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm at the workbench, and here we're going to make some beads first, and then we will transform them into the bracelets. So some of the things that you're going to need. So whatever it is you want to create your bead from. Today I'm going to actually create one using this playbill. I have several of these, and I thought the colors are really pretty on the cover here. So I thought I would use that, and then there's a nice page in the middle here too that I thought would be right there, that I thought would be a nice complement because it goes with the colors there. So I'm going to use that for the bead itself. And then you're going to need obviously some glue. I've put glue in this tiny little container because the end is nice and small. So I'm going to use that. But you can use any glue that you have. You could use a glue stick. You could use school glue, Mod Podge, anything like that. Would work. So glue, you're going to, when we create the beads, you're going to then need bead caps. So these are the two that I used. There are different colors here, but these are the two that I used. And you can see on the beads that I have here, the end caps are right on the end there. And it really makes the bead feel more elevated. In these, I added the caps, and that's these right here. I added the caps on the ends right there. So I just love the look of that, and it makes it feel kind of more finished in the final product. All right, so I'm going to put those aside, and obviously you're going to need elastic. This, you can get at any craft store. You can get these at any craft store as well. All right, so I'm going to put these aside. And as I said, you're going to need scissors or some way to cut your paper as well. So I'm going to use this program. I'm going to take the cover right off of the program. It kind of hurts to cut out programs because they're so special. Fortunately, I have lots of them. So I'm only going to use, I'm just going to cut this piece off right here. I'm only going to use the front of this. And don't worry about the ends there. We'll fix that. And then, as I said, we're going to use that center, that page in the middle there that kind of goes along with it. Just the colors really work nicely with the cover as well. So, find it with us. Okay, and let's hold that, just so that I have extra beads options to use. Okay, and I love the way this is going to work is we're going to cut basically like long triangles. And the width of the triangle, the end of the triangle, depends on how wide your bead is. So if you notice here, these beads were approximately, I don't know, half an inch, maybe an inch wide. And then some of these were a little bit smaller. And it was just the way I cut them. And, you can be very particular about it and create a grid and cut them. I'm going to be honest, I am less particular about it. I do have a little gadget here to cut, and so I'm going to use that just in the interest of time. Okay, and so basically I'm going to look at, you can see here, the bottom here. I'm going to look there just to see if that is the length that I want. And so I have to start my first cut because if you notice that it's kind of flat, the end is straight. So I'm going to cut that off. Now I'm going to use my guide. So I'm just going to kind of gauge. Like I said, I'm not very particular about it. You can be if you'd like. So here's my first cut. And that will be a bead. So the top of the bead, or that, if you look at one of these beads, this center section is the top, the small part of the bead. And then this is the base of the bead. So I'm going to cut a bunch of these. And now you'll go in the opposite direction. If you'll notice, because of the way the paper is now angled, we'll go in the opposite direction. So my next bead, the ending will be, or the, if you notice, it'll be opposite this bead here. Okay, so the yellow is on the smaller end on this bead. So that means that will be the center of the bead, and this will be the base of the bead. Okay, so I'm going to cut these off camera, and I will come back. Okay, so I've cut all of the programs, and to be honest, I actually was able to get 12 out of the front program cover. So I probably don't need that inner page. I cut them anyway, just in case, but I probably don't need them because I think 12 will be enough for a bracelet. So I just wanted to give you some of the measurements. So looking at here, these are, just under 2 inches, a little over 3/4 of an inch on that edge. And then they taper to nothing on the other side. You can make them as whatever size works for you, and you don't need one of those cutters that I had. You can certainly cut them with scissors, and that will work perfectly. All right, so this is easy. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, you're gonna need a skewer of some sort. I have these small skewers, and this could not be easier. You're just going to take the big end, and you're going to start to wrap it around the skewer. I add a little bit of glue right here, and the reason just is to make it a little bit more secure. Okay, you don't need a ton of glue, and then I'm just gonna start rolling, and it depends on the fabric, the materials you have, how easy it is to roll. I'm going to be honest, the purple beads that I made, those were from, like I said, a poster, and they were a little bit harder to roll because it was thicker. I'm going to just add a little bit more glue here because it was thicker. However, it also made really nice thick beads, and so that's I think was a lovely feature of that. I'm adding a little bit of glue as I go along, just to make sure that it's staying together. The other thing too is, while you're rolling, you want to make sure that you keep this in the center. So you see how I'm rolling that and keeping that right in the center. And you can always move it. The white glue is really forgiving. And so when you get to the end here, you're just going to add a little bit of glue on the end. And when I did the others, I actually used a toothpick and put glue on a toothpick. So you don't have to have one of these little glue dispensers either. Look at how pretty that is. That has got some gorgeous color in it. And then you literally just take it right off the end of your skewer, and you put that down. Oops, put it down so you can see. And you'll move on to the next one. And again, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to roll that over the end. Sometimes I will, just, you can see that, roll over in the end here. All right, and then I add a little bit of glue, just a little bit. You don't need a ton, and then just start rolling. Okay, and you could use, if you don't have skewers, there are lots of things you could use, depending on the size of the bead you want. I've seen people use straws for the inserts. I've seen people use knitting needles if you have those around your house. It's just something to wrap around. And then you'll take them off. With the straws, you could even leave the straws in and just cut the bead at the straw, and that would work too. So whatever you have, I mean, I'm all about using what you have around your house. Mine's getting a little bit off center here, so whoops. I'm going to try to rewrap that just a smidge to get that back on center. There we go. Look at the colors on this. These are really pretty. And what's so fascinating, you can use anything for your source, for your beads. I've created beads. I made a whole dress using beads from magazine pages, and it just was stunning. And so you take those, whatever colors work for your aesthetic. How pretty is that, huh? And then just take it right off. It's got a couple beads already. So if you notice, like this one here, the yellow's on the exterior because that was the top where the playbill was, and this one, the yellow, was on the interior, and that's where the playbill was there. But it gives, obviously, they coordinate, and that's what's so great about this, that you can create. And I love the colors. The colors in the design are really great, so it will have a nice, colorful effect when we put the bracelet together later. Okay. I was just getting started. Sometimes can be a little bit fiddly. All right. This can be actually really kind of soothing. You could put TV on and just watch TV or listen to your favorite Broadway show when you're doing this, and create lots and lots of beads. You could create really gorgeous long necklaces. You could add it as details on a bag, on your rehearsal bag or something. I think that's really cool. All right. Again, making sure keeping that right in the center. And then adding, like I said, you don't need a ton of glue. We're actually going to add a sealer onto it, which will also help to keep it glued down. And if you notice, I'm kind of wrapping it around and getting a little bit more glue on it. That also helps to keep it kind of in place. All right, so I'm going to finish making these beads off camera, and I will come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I have finished the beads, and I started putting them on the skewers for the next part of the project. So you see what a great variety based on the program cover that we had. And like I said, I'm putting them on skewers so that we can, well, it's a little tight, we can start the next part of this. If you notice, these are not very big. If you notice the other, these were from the program page. They're much thicker, and it's because the paper was thicker and it was longer. And so depending on the size beads you want, these were the sheet music. They were also half sheets, and so they weren't as wide. So, and it's also thinner paper. So depending on what you're looking for, you can certainly make them whatever size fits your aesthetic. All right, so the next part, we're going to cover the beads. So if you notice, the other beads are quite shiny. You can see the shine on there. They right now they're matte because they're not sealed. And so there are different ways that you can do this. You can use like a Mod Podge if you'd like. That would work, certainly. I love this triple thick. I sometimes will use that on beads, but this stuff can get kind of expensive if you're on a budget. So I'm going to be honest, one of my favorite things is just plain old nail polish. It dries quickly. This one has some sparkle to it, and I love that it adds a little bit of sparkle to the bead. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to use nail polish, and you can use whatever color you want. I have clear here as well. I could certainly use clear, but I'm going to use the sparkles because I think sparkles are fun. All right, and so basically you're just going to paint these like you were painting nails. All right, and you want to get all the way to the end. Be careful you don't do it right onto the skewer there. Although, it's nail polish, so it will come off pretty easily if you do. So I add a fairly good coat. You don't want to make it too thick because you don't want it to drip. That has happened before. But what I think is so cool about these is they look handmade. Well, partly they are, but they're not perfect. And, in beads that you get, that are mass produced, they have that kind of perfect look to them. And this has that kind of special quality about it that feels handmade and unique. So that's one of the reasons I love doing this. So you see, I don't know if you can see the sparkle. It looks really cool. So literally just painting all of these on. And then, you know, whatever you have kind of laying around your house. I actually had this little styrofoam piece here. And so I'll just put it right in there and let them dry. Okay. And I'm going to do another one just so you can see. Again, just painting, making sure you get up to the edges. We're going to do a second coat. So if you don't get it around the first time, you can certainly get it a second time. And you can put as many coats as you'd like on it. Sometimes I'll even put glitter on it, you know, sprinkle glitter on it just for fun. That would be a nice detail as well. And then you can also do different colors. So I've done, you know, like a pink sparkle, and then coat it with a clear so that it seals it. Whatever suits your particular aesthetic, and obviously what you have for your source page here will also kind of dictate to you what you want it to look like. Oh, it's very loose. It's spinning around. Look at that. And I've gotten sometimes with nail polishes and they have big chunks of glitter in them. That's always fun too. I like those. And you can mix it up. You can have different looks there. Okay, so that one's done. All right, so I'm going to do the other two off camera and I will come back. Okay, so I've put 2 coats of the nail polish on to these, and I've given them approximately, I'm going to say about a half an hour to dry. You know, I just wanted to make sure it was fully cured before I start playing with them. So I'm going to take these off of the skewers. Oh, that one's a little tight. Okay. Oh, that was tight. Okay. And so there we go. Oops, sorry, I just hit my camera. So there we go. Here, how cute are those beads? You see those? Lots of color. You can see the sparkle on them. All right, so now we're going to fancy them up a little bit. So I've got the bead caps here, and you know these beads are a little small. So I don't know if you noticed, like on these bead caps, I added the rounder. On these beads, I added the rounder caps. You can see those. These beads are a little bit narrow, and so I'm going to use these that have a little bit of a more narrow profile to them. You can see that. So I think I'm going to put the gold. I have silver gold and this kind of dark color. Just so you know, these you can get at any craft store, you know, Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever you've got in your area. And they're pretty inexpensive, and you get them in obviously packages of, you know, a large quantity. So as I mentioned, these are going to be on the ends, and the beads are kind of small, but I actually kind of like this look. You can see that. Kind of like the look of that. And when I put them on, you could use something like an E6000 or a Gorilla Glue or something like that. I'm going to use just honestly a hot glue gun today, just to make it a little bit more quick. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Ooh, that was a lot. Around the edge. You want to be careful. You don't want to cover the end where the elastic is going to go through. And then literally you're just going to attach your bead onto the end, the bead cap onto the end. How special is that? Okay, and you can even crimp it down if you'd like. I kind of actually like the look of that, so I'm going to go with that. And you're just going to attach them. Don't put too much glue. I'm using a low melt glue here, mostly because the bead caps do have, you can see, holes in them, and high melt glue would really potentially burn your fingers. So there you go. There is one of our beads. And so I'm going to do another one here so you can see. They're still a little bit tacky. All right. Just add a tiny little bit of glue around the end. Just to secure it. Take your cap, put it right on. And so you can see the hole. I don't know if you can see the hole on the end there. That's where we're going to put the elastic through when we make this into a bracelet. You could make them into necklaces. You could even make these into earrings. You could make little tassels to, I don't know, put on your, the outside of your script or your rehearsal bag. That would be really fun. There we go. Very sweet. Okay, so I'm going to finish the rest of these off camera, and I will come back and we'll make our bracelet. Okay, so I finished putting the bead caps on the different beads, and look at how great these look. They're so sparkly and they have such great color to them. So now we're going to make them into a bracelet. And so I've got here some just elastic. It's jewelry elastic. And so this will be perfect for making this bracelet. So you can, if you remember on these over here, you can just expand it and put it on your wrist. So that will work great. Now, the challenge is, I've got a needle here. The challenge is for the needle to be able to fit through the bead. It's got to be pretty thin. So sometimes it's tricky getting the elastic into that hole on the needle. So here's a trick. You may have seen these in sewing shops, and they're to help thread needles. So you're going to take this. I don't know if you can see on the end. You can see there's that wire on the end there. So you're going to take that wire and you're going to put it into the hole. Okay, so I've got it in the hole where you thread the needle. So what you'll do then is you will take the thread, now the elastic thread here, and you're going to put it through that wire. You see that? And then you just pull it back through the needle and you've threaded it. That I have found that, this kind of thread is so tricky to get through the small eye on this needle. So this has been a real help in trying to expeditiously thread your needle. Okay, so now you're going to take your beads. This is the fun part. And you can, basically, you put the needle through the hole and thread it through the other hole. Just pull your elastic thread through. And you can look at, so this one had yellow in the center. Maybe I'll add one that has blue and I'll alternate it just for fun. Okay, just to have variety there. How pretty is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one with yellow. And it depends on your wrist, like how, I had one with color in the middle there. It depends on the size of your wrist, how many beads you're going to need to put on. And so I have found that on one of them it was significantly smaller because these beads are quite wide. They're narrow, but they're wide. They're skinny. And they're skinny because we had a short piece of paper. If you had a longer piece of paper, it would be a thicker bead. So it's just something to think about. All right, let me just see where we're at here. I'm just going to put them together and try to put it on. All right, I'm going to add a couple more just for my wrist size. Okay, let's see. Let's see how that goes. I like this colorful one. see how that goes. So basically I'm just putting them together just to get a sense of the size. I don't want to cut anything yet. We will in a moment, but I don't want to cut anything yet. All right, so just kind of putting that together. That almost feels a little too big for me. So maybe I'll take one of them off. Oops, I got all tangled. All right, so I don't need the needle any longer because we're not threading. So I'm going to take this last one off just because of the size that I need. Now, just to not waste all our thread, I'm just going to pull this back. So you're going to then take the two ends. I'll cut this just to make it easier. Take the two ends, you're going to create a square knot. So in this case, I've got left going over right. So basically tying it this way. You're going to tie those right together. Now I'm going to do right over left. And that will make a knot so that it won't come out. You want to make sure that's nice and tight. Okay? Sometimes just for fun, I'll do a third one. Okay? And then you can cut it so that it doesn't come undone. And then, bam! How cute is that? It's nice so that it fits right on your wrist. Isn't that sweet? I love it. And what a great way to remember a special Broadway show, or you could do it with a script that you have. In this particular case over here, it was with music. So maybe you had a really beautiful piece of music you got to sing in a concert, and you took a copy of that music and made in beads, or a show and you had extra show poster and you were able to make a bracelet. And so you have that, and it's kind of nice because it's not obvious to somebody looking at that is a memory bracelet for you, but you know, and you keep it kind of close to your heart. So we've got the bracelet here with a playbill, poster, and music, but the options are really unlimited. You could make them with so many different pieces of paper. So I hope you are able to try this craft and kind of take some of those special posters and pieces of paper that you have and keep them forever in your jewelry stash. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Theater Craft. I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.